Good morning. The last class we saw the man was totally panic stricken and he did not know that moment what has he to do. He had both optimistic as well as the pessimistic thoughts with him. The optimistic thought was if he runs with the same speed further, he may be able to, even though he loses some parts of his body, he may be able to reach the camp with the boys and they will certainly take his care. At the same time, he had a negative thought with him, pessimistic thought that was with him, which stated him that he will never be able to reach the camp and it is almost going to be the end of his life. So his mind was fixed with both these kind of thoughts. And let's see, once again, let's see the last paragraph which we have seen in the last class. I'll just read out the last paragraph in order to get connected with the rest of the portion. A certain fear of death, dull and oppressive, came to him. This fear quickly became poignant as he realized that it was no longer a mere matter of freezing his fingers and toes or of losing his hands and feet, but that it was a matter of life and death with the chances against him. This threw him into a panic, and he turned and ran up to the creek bed along the old dim trail. The dog joined in behind and kept up with him. He ran blindly without intention, in fear such as he had never known in his life. Slowly, as he plowed and floundered through the snow, he began to see things again. The banks of the creek, the old timber jams, the leafless aspens, and the sky. The running made him feel better. He did not shiver. Maybe if he ran on, his feet would thaw out, and anyway, if he ran far enough, he would reach camp and the boys. Without doubt, he would lose some fingers and toes and some of his face. But the boys would take his care and save the rest of him when he got there. And at the same time, there was another thought in his mind that said he would never get to the camp and the boys, that it was too many miles away, that the freezing had too great a start on him, and that he would soon be stiff and dead. This thought he kept in the background and refused to consider. Sometimes it pushed itself forward and demanded to be heard, but he thrust it back and strove to think of the other things. He tried to keep aside the negative thought from his mind. That is, the camp is very far away from the place, as well as melting of the snow at his feet has not begun yet. So therefore, he may not be able to reach with the boys at all. That is what he felt about. And he wanted to keep this thought behind. He wanted to think positively. But sometimes it happened that this negative thought, which he does not want to consider at all, overpowered the optimistic thought that was within him. So let us continue. Open page number 50. Page number 50, the second paragraph. It struck him as curious that he could not run at all on feet so frozen that he could not feel them when they struck the earth and took the weight of his body. He seemed to himself to skim along above the surface and to have no connection with the earth. Somewhere he had once seen a winged Mercury, and he wondered if Mercury felt as he felt when skimming over the earth. It struck him, such kind of thought struck him. The negative thought struck him as curious that he could not run at all on feet so frozen. His feet are totally frozen, and because of which he would not be able to run at all. That was the thought which struck him, that he could not feel them when they struck on the earth. Even when the feet touches on the earth, he doesn't have any sensation at all when they struck on the earth and it took the weight of his body. He did not realize that his own feet were carrying the weight of his body. Such kind of thought which came to his mind, the negative thought which he doesn't want to keep in his mind at all, but the negative thought sometime overpowered the optimistic idea, the optimistic notion that the man had within his mind. He seemed to himself to skim along. To skim along over here means moving very, very lightly, maybe floating, almost like a floating. He seemed to himself to skim along above the surface. He felt that he is not able to experience that his feet are touching on the ground. It was almost like he is skimming to the ground, almost floating. That was a feeling the man was experiencing, and to have no connection with the earth, because he did not have any connection. He did not feel his body connection with the earth because his feet were totally frozen. So he was not able to experience the touching of his feet towards the earth. Somewhere he had once seen a winged Mercury, and he wondered if Mercury felt as he felt when skimming over the earth. When the Mercury that floats over there on the in the planet, in the Milky Way, when it moves or it floats, whether it had the same feeling as this man had. That is what came to his mind. Please remember, Mercury is the planet which is closer to the sun, but at the same time, scientists say that certain part of Mercury, especially the northern pole of Mercury, remains frozen throughout the year. Throughout the year it is frozen, the northern part. That also extremely cold, and the scientists say that it is 125 degree Kelvin is the temperature, which is approximately minus 135 degree Fahrenheit. That is what the temperature of the northern pole over there in the Mercury. That is why he feels that when the Mercury, the planet Mercury that revolves around the sun, whether it experiences the same kind of feeling that the man experiences. That is what he was wondering in his mind. His theory of running until he reached the camp and the boys had one flaw in it: he lacked the endurance. Several times he slumbered, and finally he tottered, crumbled up and fell. When he tried to rise, he failed. He must sit and rest, he decided, and next time he would merely walk and keep on going. As he sat and regained his breath, he noted that he was feeling quite warm and comfortable. He was not shivering, and it even seemed that a warm glow had come to his chest and trunk. And yet, when he touched his nose and cheeks, there was no sensation. Running would not thaw them out, nor would it thaw out his hands and feet. Then the thought came to him that the frozen portions of his body must be extending. He tried to keep this thought down, to forget it, to think of something else. He was aware of the panicky feeling that it caused, and he was afraid of the panic. But the thought asserted itself and persisted until it produced a vision of his body totally frozen. This was too much, and he made another wild run along the trail. Once he slowed down to a walk, but the thought of the freezing extending itself made him run again. His theory of running until he reached the camp and the boys had one flaw in it. One flaw over here means one demerit. It had a defect in it. The theory of running till he reaches to the boys, that is at the camp, had one demerit. And what is that demerit? That he lacked the endurance. The man did not have enough of patience within him. He did not have the endurance at all. That is what was the negativity in it. Several times he stumbled and fall, and finally he tottered. Tottered means made unsteady movement. So certain occasions he had to make the unsteady movement and crumbled up. There are occasions where he completely collapsed to the ground and fell. Once again, let's see. Several times he stumbled. Then finally he tottered and crumbled up. He collapsed. Crumble up over here means collapse, and he fell to the ground. When he tried to raise, he failed. When he collapsed or fell to the ground, he tried to get up once again. When he tried to rise, he failed. It was impossible for him to stand up all alone. He must sit and rest, he decided. Since it was not possible for him to easily stand up, he decides now he must sit and rest, he decided, and next time he would merely walk and keep on going. He decided that running all the time till he reaches to the boys at the camp may not be possible at all. So therefore now he decides to sit for a while in order to take the rest. He decided, and the next time he would merely walk, he would not be running again. That is what the man plans to do now. He decides that he would merely walk and keep on going, and that is the way he will be keeping himself on going towards the camp. The man decided that he was totally tired. He collapsed so many times. He got stumbled, and he collapsed and he fell, and he tried to stand up once again, and it was quite impossible for him to stand up all alone. So therefore the man decided that he would take rest for a while, for some time, and after that he would be walking in place of running. That is what the man decided, and this is the way he will make the things go on. And regained his breath, he noted that he was feeling quite warm and comfortable. That is what he had already decided. He will be taking rest for some time. Now he sat down for the rest, and he experiences a kind of a bit of comfort within him. As he sat and regained his breath, when he was running, it was not possible for him to have breathing properly. Now he regained his breath, and he noted that he was feeling quite warm and comfortable. The man himself experienced that his body is warm enough, quite warm enough, and he is quite comfortable. That is what the man felt after having taken rest for a while. He was not shivering, and it even seemed that a warm glow had come to his chest and the trunk. And the shivering which was taking place in his body ceased now, totally came to an end, and it seemed that a warm glow had come to the chest as well as the trunk of his body. Only no sensation in the extremities of his body. His trunk as well as the chest, he experiences a kind of warmth. That is what the writer uses here. And it even seemed that a warm glow had come to his chest and the trunk. And yet, when he tested his nose and cheeks, there was no sensation. The part of his body that are totally exposed to the extremities of the weather, so they had no sensation at all. Especially his nose or cheeks, there was no sensation. Running would not thaw them out. He realized that running is not going to melt that kind of feeling at all. That is, the numbness will not be lost at all, even if he run for so long. That is what he realizes now. Running would not thaw them out, nor would it thaw out his hands as well as the feet. His hands as well as the feet are totally frozen now. Running is not going to help it out at all. Then the thought came to him that the frozen portions of his body must be extending. Then a thought came to his mind. Again, another thought that comes to his mind. Then the thought came to him that the frozen portions of his body must be extending. Not only his fingers and the exposed part of his body, but the larger portion of his body is getting frozen. That is what he feels now. A thought came to him that the frozen portions of his body must be extending. The frozen portions of his body are increasing now. That is what he felt. He tried to keep this thought down, to forget it, to think of something else. Every time we see that whenever a negative thought, a pessimistic thought that came to him, he tried to keep that thought out. He tried to suppress such kind of thought, and the same thing he tries to do here. A thought came to his mind that the frozen part of his body is getting extended. That was a kind of feeling which came to him, but he tried to keep this thought down. He tried to hide this thought, to forget it. He wanted to forget about such kind of negative thought, to think of something else. He was aware of the panicky feeling that it caused, and he was afraid of the panic. He knew that when such kind of negative thoughts that come to his mind, he is going to be extremely panicked, and he knew the consequence of being panicked. He doesn't want it to be panic at all. He wanted to control his own feelings, and therefore he always tried to keep all the negative thoughts down. But the thought asserted itself, but the negative thought stated itself. The thought came to him again and again and persisted, and such kind of negative thought persisted over here means it continued. He wanted to keep such kind of negative thoughts down. That's what he wanted to do, because he knew the evil consequence if his mind is preoccupied with such kind of negativity. He will be turning totally to be panic, and therefore he knew what will happen once he turns to be panic, and therefore he wanted to keep such kind of negative thought always down. But what happened? The thought asserted itself, the thought stated itself, and it persisted, it continued until it produced a vision of his body totally frozen. Slowly the frozen part of his body started extending, and it came to it affected the entire part of the body of this man. That is what, till this thought came to him, this negative thought continued in his mind. But the thought asserted itself and persisted until it produced a vision of the body totally frozen. This was too much, and he made another wild run along the trail. And therefore what he decided, this was too much, the entire body getting frozen, which means the end of his life. It was too much for him to bear at all, and therefore he made another wild run along the trail. So therefore he decided that he must run. If he goes on walking, again slowly the frozen part of his body would be getting extended, and therefore the only option that was left with him, according to him, the present moment, is he has to run. So therefore he started running. Once again, the negative thoughts that he wanted to keep aside, that is, the frozen part of his body is increasing. That is what the negative thought which he wanted to control, to keep it down. But the more he tried to keep it down, it overpowered him. The negative thought came to him again and again, and he imagined such a kind of situation that the frozen part slowly getting extended, and the entire body has turned to be frozen. That is what the situation or a thought that he came into, and therefore he decides immediately that his body should not be totally frozen, and the only way to escape from this situation, he must run, and therefore he started running again, and he made another wild run along the trail. Once he slowed down to walk. After running for a long distance, naturally the person will be exhausted, person will be totally tired, and once he slowed down to walk, when he was extremely tired, he thought of walking. Once he slowed down to a walk, but the thought of the freezing extending itself made him run again. Immediately the thought comes to his mind, that negative thoughts comes to his mind, that is the frozen part of his body is getting extended, and such kind of thought made him to run again. The moment he stopped running, the moment he started walking slowly, the negative thought comes to him, that is, the frozen part of his body is getting extended, and he knew that if he remains with such kind of thought, and the situation happens to be like that, he would not be able to reach the camp together with the boys at all. So therefore once again he started running. And all the time the dog ran with him at his heels. When he fell down a second time, it curled its tail over its forefeet and sat in front of him, facing him, curiously eager and intent. The warmth and the security of the animal angered him, and he cursed it till it flattened down its ears appeasingly. This time the shivering came more quickly upon the man. He was losing in the battle with the frost. It was creeping into his body from all sides. The thought of it drove him on, but he ran no more than 100 feet when he staggered and pitched headlong. It was his last panic. When he had recovered his breath and control, he sat up and entertained in his mind the conception of meeting death with dignity. However, the conception did not come to him in such terms. His idea of it was that he had been making a fool of himself, running around like a chicken with its head cut off. Such was the simile that occurred to him. Well, he was bound to freeze anyway, and he might as well take it decently. With this newfound peace of mind came the first glimmerings of drowsiness. A good idea, he thought, to sleep off to death. It was like taking an anesthetic. Freezing was not so bad as people thought. There were lots worse ways to die. And all the time the dog ran with him at his heels. From the beginning we know, when the man walked, the dog walked at his heels. When the man runs, the dog naturally runs at his heels. So that is what the dog continued the same process. And all the time the dog ran with him at his heels. When he fell down a second time, it curled its tail over its forefeet and sat in front of him. When the man fell down for the second time, what the animal did was, it curled its tail. It turned its tail over its forefeet and sat in front of him, facing him curiously, eager and intently, purposefully, as well as eagerly. Intent over here means proposed to. Purposefully here, purposefully and very eagerly and curiously, it started observing the man. The second time when the man fell on the ground, the dog started observing him very keenly, very eagerly, with the full of purpose in his mind. Purposefully it observed the man, and the warmth and the security of the animal angered him. The man felt a kind of a jealous feeling, as the animal was warm enough. That is what the warmth and the security of the animal angered him, and he cursed it. He started cursing the animal because it was safe enough. The animal is still safe. So the man cursed the animal till it flattened down its ears appeasingly. Till the time the animal flattened its ears very, very calmly. Appeasingly means calmly. When its ears are straight forward, which means the animal is quite warm enough. And the moment when it started its till the moment it flattened down its ears, that is the time the anger subdued a bit. This time the shivering came more quickly upon the man. He started shivering very quickly. The man started shivering. He was losing in the battle with the frost, and he realizes that the battle with the frost, he is going to be the loser. He is a loser, he realizes, when he fought with the frost. This time the shivering came more quickly upon the man, and he was losing in his battle with the frost. It was creeping into his body from all sides. The extreme cold, chilly weather, the frost which was entering into his body from all the sides. The thought of it drove him on, but he ran not more than 100 feet. When this thought came to him that he is going to get defeated with the battle with the frost, he once again stood up and once again he started running, but he could not run more than 100 feet. When he staggered, he was stagger means walk unsteadily. He walked unsteadily. He did not get the balance of his body at all. He realized that he will not be able to run clearly. Though he tried to run again, as the thought came to him that he is going to get defeated with the battle of the frost. That is what he decided. With the battle with the frost, he is a loser. And this thought came to him. He was not ready to accept failure. He was not ready to accept death at all. So therefore, once again, he rose and he started running, but he could hardly run 100 feet. By that time, he staggered. He staggered means he started walking unsteadily and pitched headlong. headlong. He started rushing forward. Headlong over here means he threw himself forward, headlong. It was his last panic. It was the last panic situation that the man has fallen into. When he had recovered his breath and control, he sat up and entertained in his mind the conception of meeting death with dignity. Now the man has accepted in his mind that he is not going to survive at all. So now the only option left with him is accept death with dignity. He must embrace death in a dignified manner. That is what he feels now. Death must be, I have to accept death, but not with panic, in a dignified manner. That is what the man feels now. When he had recovered his breath, as he ran almost or maybe hardly 100 feet. That was the time he lost the balance of his body and he fell down. And when he had recovered his breath and control, he sat up and entertained in his mind the conception of, he entertained in his mind the notion, the idea of meeting death with dignity. I have to embrace death now and I have to accept death in a dignified manner. That is what the man feels now. Not in a panic situation. I have to embrace death, but this death I will be embracing with dignity. That is what the protagonist decides now. The conception did not come to him in such terms. His idea of it was that he had been making a fool of himself. Once again, let's see. However, the conception, the idea that he has to experience death in a dignified manner, that is what the conception here. The conception did not come to him in such terms. This idea did not come to him in a proper terms. His idea of it was that he had been making a fool of himself, running around like a chicken with its head cut off. He feels that this running was a foolish idea. It was something like when the head of the chicken is cut off, still we see that the chicken will be running. The death is at hand to the chicken. Immediately the chicken will be, because head is separated from its body, and the animal, the bird will fly immediately. Still the bird flies. So that is what such kind of foolishness is, the foolishness that he had done. That is what he feels now. Once again, his idea of it was that he had been making a fool of himself. Running made him a fool of himself, running around like a chicken with its head cut off. It was exactly like a chicken that runs on even when its head is cut off. Such was the simile that occurred to him. Such is the only simile that came to his mind. Well, he was bound to freeze anyway. He is likely to freeze anyhow, and he might as well take it decently. Yes, I have to accept. He thinks that he has to accept death very, very decently. He doesn't want to accept death in a panic-stricken situation. He wanted to accept death decently. With this newfound peace of mind, came the first glimmerings of drowsiness. With this new feeling came the first faint feeling of glimmerings. Over here means the faint feeling of drowsiness. He started feeling sleepy now. Anyway, he decided now that he will be accepting death decently, and he feels now this is a good idea. It is an excellent idea that came to his mind, and that was the time he got a kind of drowsiness. He started feeling sleepy. A good idea, he thought, to sleep off to death, and he feels that it's a wonderful idea. Sleeping now is a wonderful idea. Continue sleeping till the death. That is what he feels now. He feels that he will be sleeping, and he will be going on sleeping, and that will be his eternal sleep. That is what he felt now. A good idea, he thought, to sleep off till death. It was like taking an anesthetic. He felt that it is something like taking anesthetic. The feeling of pain, the panic-stricken feeling, he will not be having at all. So almost like taking anesthetic is the situation that he is at present. He is slowly falling into a kind of drowsiness, and he feels that he will continue sleeping as his eternal sleep. Freezing was not so bad as the people thought, and he says that freezing is not so bad as the other people think. There was lots worse ways to die. This is not the worst way to die. There are many other ways which are worse than this, and this is not the worst way to die at all. This is not the worst way to die. Freezing is not the worst way to die, the man feels now. He pictured the boys finding his body the next day. Suddenly he found himself with them, coming along the trail and looking for himself. And still with them, he came around a turn in the trail and found himself lying in the snow. He did not belong with himself anymore, for even then he was out of himself, standing with the boys and looking at himself in the snow. It certainly was his thought. When he got back to the States, he could tell the flock what real cold was. He drifted on from this to a vision of the old timer on Sulphur Creek. He could see him quite clearly, warm and comfortable, and smoking a pipe. "You are right, old horse, you are right," the man mumbled to the old timer of Sulphur Creek. Yes, he pictured the boys finding his body in the next day. Now his mind is filled with such kind of imagination. He is dead. That is the imagination that comes to his mind. And the friends, the boys in the next day, they come across in order to find out his dead body. That is what he imagines. He pictures now. He pictured the boys finding his body the next day. Suddenly he found himself with them. Now see the imagination. He is one among the boys, finding out his own dead body. Suddenly he found himself with them, coming along the trail and looking for himself. He is one among the people who are searching the dead body of his own. That is what he pictures now, he imagines now. And still with them, he came around a turn in the trail and found himself lying in the snow. So he, together with the boys, trying to find out the dead body, and he finds his own dead body over the snow, lying in the snow. He did not belong with himself anymore, for even then he was out of himself, standing with the boys and looking at himself. See, he is standing together with the boys, looking at his own dead body in the snow. It certainly was his thought. And his thought in the mind, as he stands together with the boys over there, trying to find out, and found out his own dead body there. And his thought now is, it certainly was his thought. When he got back to the States, he could tell the flock what real cold was, and he realizes that when he returns back to his own territory, that is what his own states, he would be able to tell the rest of his friend what the real cold is. You have never experienced the real cold in your life, and he has experienced what the real cold was. He drifted on from this to a vision. From here he drifted, he changed his imagination from this to a vision of the old timer on the Sulphur Creek. Now his imagination moves to the old man over there on the Sulphur Creek. He could see him quite clearly. He is able to see the old timer on Sulphur Creek very clearly, warm and comfortable. The old timer is very warm and comfortable and smoking a pipe. He sees, or he pictures, he imagines old timer in a comfortable situation under warm body and smoking a pipe. "You were right, old horse, you were right." And this is what he talks to the old timer. He says, "You were right in your words, you were right, old man." Old horse over here means old man. "Old man, you were right," the man mumbled to the old timer of Sulphur Creek. This is what he spoke to the old man at the Sulphur Creek. Then the man drowsed off into what seemed to him the most comfortable and satisfying sleep he had ever known. The dog sat facing him and waiting. The brief day drew to a close in a long, slow twilight. There were no signs of a fire to be made, and besides, never in the dog's experience had it known a man to sit like that in the snow and make no fire. As the twilight drew on, its eager yearning for the fire mastered it, and with a great lifting and shifting of her feet, it whined softly, then flattened its ears down in anticipation of being chidden by the man. But the man remained silent. Later the dog whined loudly, and still later it crept close to the man and caught the scent of death. This made the animal bristle and back away. A little longer it delayed, howling under the stars that leaped and danced and shone brightly in the cold sky. Then it turned and trotted up the trail on the direction of the camp it knew were the other food providers and fire providers. Then the man drowsed off. Drowsed off over here means he fall into deep sleep. He had the drowsy feeling. He imagined or he pictured that he will continue sleeping and let that be a kind of eternal sleep. That is what he decided. Now then the man drowsed off into what seemed to him the most comfortable and satisfying sleep he had ever known. The dog sat facing him and waiting. The dog was going on observing, facing and waiting for the man. The dog did not know what is really happening. The brief day drew to a close in a long, slow twilight. So the brief days in the winter seasons, we know that is smaller in comparison with the nights. Nights are longer. So that is why the writer says the brief day drew to a close in a long, slow twilight. So that it has slowly turned to be a twilight. Twilight means kind of semi-darkness, no? Half lighted. There were no signs of fire to be made, and besides, never in the dog's experience had it known a man to sit like that in the snow and make no fire. The dog still was going on observing the man, and the animal finds that no way he is going to experience the warmth of fire, and the dog did not understand. Its experience was always different. Whenever the temperature turns to be extremely cold like this, man used to make fire, and now the animal wonders why the man is not making the fire at all. Never in dog's experience had it known a man to sit like that in the snow and make no fire at all. As the twilight drew on, as the darkness drew on means it came to the twilight, the dim light came to an end, which means it is slowly becoming extreme darkness. Its eager yearning for the fire mastered it. It eagerly yearned for. The animal started longing to have the fire, and it mastered its mind. Such kind of thought mastered in the mind of the animal, and with a great lifting and shifting of her feet, it started lifting and shifting of its feet one after the other. It whined softly. The animal started crying softly, not very loudly. In the beginning, the animal started crying softly, then flattened its ears down. After that, it flattened its ears down in anticipation of being chidden by the man, because he knew that when it cries, naturally the man will be shouting at the animal. The animal will be chidden by the man. So therefore, it flattened its ears in anticipation of getting chidden by the man, being chidden by the man. But the man remained silent. The man did not scold the animal at all. The dog expected that the man would be scolding it immediately as it cried, but the man still was silent. Later the dog whined loudly. In the beginning it cried softly, and the man did not respond to it at all, and therefore it started whining loudly. And still later it crept close to the man, and there was no response from the side of the man at all, even when the animal started crying loudly, and therefore still later it crept close to the man and caught the scent of death. It crept, it slowly moved towards the man, and it experienced the smell of death, the scent of death. This made the animal bristle. This made the animal to raise and back away. Now the animal realizes that the man is no more. He is dead, and therefore the animal slowly rose up and wanted to back away. A little longer it delayed. It delayed for a while, howling under the stars that leaped and danced and shone brightly in the cold sky. The entire sky is extremely cold, and the dog sees shining as well as dancing stars. Then it turned and it trotted up. Then it turned and it walked up, trotted up, walked up the trail in the direction of the camp. It knew the place where the camp is, where the boys are, where the other food providers and the fire providers. It knew that there are other food providers as well as the fire providers for the animal, and therefore the dog slowly moved towards the camp, because the animal knew where the boys are, where the camp is, and the animal knew that it will be getting the warmth of the fire once it reaches there, as well as it will be getting sufficient food from the boys over there in the camp. And slowly the animal left the man over there and slowly moved towards the direction of the camp. And that is the end of our lesson. So we have completed altogether 9 stories. We have only one more story left out for the entire year to complete, and therefore in the next class we will not be continuing with the story. We will begin with the poem number 5, Crossing the Bar by Alfred Lord Tennyson. So the next class, I expect the students having both the textbook as well as the workbook in your hand as we begin the new poem, that is Crossing the Bar by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Please have the textbook as well as the workbook before we begin the poem, that is poem number 5, Crossing the Bar by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Thank you.